you.
Order. Brendan Horan.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Sir John Key has presented New Zealand with an election year message, and it is a triumph of corporate spin. It pretends to deliver for New Zealanders when in reality it does nothing of the sort. It pretends to deliver on jobs, on health, on our environment, our rivers and our oceans, when it does nothing of the sort. I can assure you, Mr Speaker, that the voters, they're not fooled that easily. And that is the message that I'm getting from Mount Maunganui Beach, from Papamoa, from Greerton, from Otamotai, from Arataki. Mr Speaker, yesterday for the first time, that party demonstrated that perhaps they can think long term in their headlong rush to congratulate Lord, who won't be able to vote until the election after next, which is 2017. So clearly that's their idea of long term anyway. But in the Prime Minister's statement, where is the vision to take, to take our children, our people, to 2020, in terms of trade, education and people's health, welfare and well-being? Where are the educational programs to teach children to learn, to learn, to learn? Where are the educational tools to bring our schools into the 21st century? To inspire teachers to teach, to learn. Teachers touch lives forever. But we do not need executive principals, lead teachers, so-called expert teachers. We simply need democracy, openness, honesty and transparency. Inseparables, Mr Speaker. And it has to come first and foremost from the leaders in our society. So we have the ludicrous situation where here in Parliament the government changes the Constitution, but parliamentarians and those who work within Parliament do not enjoy or live by those rights or work by those rights. How can we have one rule for Parliament and another rule for the rest of our nation? Party politics have provided platforms for party leaders to construct sense-making frameworks that constrain MPs to do their party's bidding, not their electorates, the very people who elected them. And I'll read a quote from Plato, sir. One of the penalties for not taking an interest in politics is that you end up being governed by your inferiors. In the last election, over 800,000 people voted with their feet, so disheartened with the succession of parties that have led New Zealand and they've written legislation that have affected every waking and sleeping moment of every New Zealander's life. The sad fact is, sir, that if I constructed a Let's Not Vote party, it would probably get more votes than the 1 million votes that National got in 2011. And that just shows how disenfranchised New Zealanders truly are. Sir, I take this moment to thank New Zealand First, because there is no way I would be able to stand here and speak on democracy, to talk on true inclusive democracy, if I had not been so undemocratically dumped by the New Zealand First Party. And Mr Speaker, it is a tragedy of our political system that such a party can be captured by one man who did not even stand in an electorate. I can hear the cult screaming now, but we voted for him. But sir, what of those people who voted for the principles of New Zealand First? That include MPs' first duty being to the people of New Zealand and their electorates, or open and accountable government, or the fact that New Zealand First campaigned for a fair go. What of those voters who believed that that party would give people a fair go? Ask Ben Craven, the party's youngest candidate in 2011, Ask Josh Van Veen whether they got a fair go.
Order. I apologise to the member. A point of order, Andrew Williams.
Point of order, Mr Speaker. This is the Prime Minister's debate. This honourable member is not speaking at all to do with the Prime Minister's statement.
Order. This is a very wide-ranging debate and the member is speaking certainly within standing orders. Brendan Horan.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. As I was saying, sir, ask Ben Craven, the party's youngest candidate in 2011. Ask Josh Van Veen whether they got a fair go when they were sacked on a rumour, with no investigation, no disciplinary hearing, no chance for them to say what really happened, just sacked. And this breaks every Labour law in the real world, but not here within the walls of that political party. So what really happened? Well, like most most victims of workplace bullying, neither of them will talk, but people who know the full story will not be silenced. It turns out that they did question the integrity of Mr Peters' Director of Operations, Apirana Dawson. Now, there was a promising young man who was led to the dark side, taken astray by his leader. Mr Williams, you must remember this. MPs, trade slurs. Here's a beautiful picture of the Honourable Richard Prosser, looks young and vital, and also a very good-looking Dennis O'Rourke. MPs, trade slurs over blog ratings. Because I'm talking about the same Apirana Dawson who leaked confidential emails between New Zealand First MPs to his friend working for the Christchurch Press in 2012.
Order. Point of order, Andrew Williams.
Point of order, Mr Speaker. Surely this is not within standing orders to be getting into personal matters relating to individuals and individual parliamentary services staff. Surely not.
Well, I'm afraid on this occasion, when we're having the Prime Minister's debate, it's a free-ranging debate. The member making these statements needs to do so responsibly. I cannot in any way cease his speech or rule it out of order at this stage.
Thank you, Mr Speaker.
Brendan Horan.
Sir, this is not only the same Apirana Dawson who leaked confidential emails between New Zealand First MPs to his friend working for the Christchurch Press in 2012, it is the same Apirana Dawson who not only traded expressions with the media using the false name of Bruce Bayliss, but also filed OIA requests about an MP using that same false name of Bruce Bayliss. Would taxpayers approve of their money being used in this way, this dabbling in the dark arts? What happened to the principles of that party? One asks, what are the New Zealand First MPs doing for Ben Craven and Josh Van Veen, the two young researchers unceremoniously and unfairly sacked on hearsay, the innocent victims of plots and subterfuge, all overseen by the leader of that party? What have New Zealand First MPs done about this injustice? How would one describe a New Zealand political party that would unfairly sack its most loyal staffers in favour of keeping its dodgiest? Is this another demonstration of a political party leader's serious lack of judgment? How can anyone in that party speak on workers' rights and be taken seriously or believed? Mr Speaker, look closely. You're witnessing the demise of New Zealand First. The question is, will New Zealand First MPs have the courage and conviction to take the step that was forced upon me and then broadcast their point of view? To those New Zealand First MPs, I remind them of a quote from Albert Einstein: "Unthinking respect for authority is the greatest enemy of truth." But, sir, there is a change coming, a fresh, new, welcome breeze on our political landscape, a breeze that promises hope, strength, integrity, and a democratic voice for all New Zealanders. The New Zealand Independent Coalition is being formed, and we realise what the rest of the world realises, that ultra-fast broadband will revolutionise trade, education and people's health and welfare, occupational welfare, individual welfare, employment welfare, spiritual welfare, health welfare, wealth welfare. In 2020, there will be 75 billion devices connected to the internet and over 6 billion users. The New Zealand Independent Coalition will prepare our children to learn, to exercise imagination, knowledge, vision, wisdom and judgment, to pave pathways of prosperity for our people here in our country, New Zealand. We would dramatically increase the pace of the ultra-fast broadband rollout so New Zealand can compete on an equal basis worldwide. In 2012, at Sky City, at the Commerce Commission conference on UFB, the statement was made that at current rates in 2017, New Zealand will be where North America were in 2020.
Order.
Sir.
The member's time has expired. Honourable Craig Foss.
Thank you, Mr.